Hello everyone, I Akhil Misra welcome you all to the SWAM online course lecture on personal carrying basket and equipments. In this video, we are going to learn briefly about various carrying basket, risk assessment for personal carrying equipments and common type of material handling equipments. Contents of course is as follows. We go through this first personal carrying basket and type, common type of material handling equipment in construction, important rules of use for personal carrying equipment, risk assessment for personal carrying equipment in construction, and then we go for conclusion. Personal carrying basket, also known as man basket or suspended platform, are a specialized piece of equipment used in construction and industrial setting, safely lift a worker to elevated work area where conventional access methods like ladder or scaffolding are impractical or unsafe. Here are some key considerations regarding personal carrying basket and the equipment associated with them. Personal carrying basket components are as follows. First, basket. The basket in the platform where workers stand or sit. It is a typical constructed from materials like steel or aluminum and includes safety features such as guardrail, handles, toe board and non-slip floorings. Guardrails. Guardrails around the perimeter of the basket are essential for preventing falls and providing a barrier to protect workers. Entry gate or door. The basket usually has a gate or door for easy entry and exit, which should be securely latched while the basket is in use. Attachment points. Attachment points within the basket are used for connecting workers, safety harness and landlord to prevent them from falling out. Equipments for lifting personal basket. Cranes. Cranes are commonly used to lift personal baskets. Mobile cranes or tower crane may be employed depending on the specific job requirements. Forklifts. In some cases, forklifts equipped with the personal basket attachment can be used for lifting workers. Another lift is aerial lifts. Aerial lifts such as cherry pickers or boom lifts are also used for elevated access and can be equipped with a personal basket. Winch or hoist. When lifting of a stationary from a stationary point, winch or hoist may be used to raise and lower personal baskets. Safety precautions and regulations. Here we discuss about the safety precautions and regulations linked with use of personal baskets. Compliances. The use of personal carrying basket is subjected to stringent safety regulations and guidelines set forth by construction and occupational safety authorities. Compliances with these regulations is mandatory. Load capacity. The personal basket should be rated for a specific load capacity, taking into account the weight of workers and any tools or material being transported. Exceeding the rated capacity can lead to instability and is unsafe. Fall protection. Workers inside the basket must wear appropriate fall protection gears, including safety harness and lanyards. These should be properly attached to anchor point within the basket. Safety inspection. Regular inspection of both the personal basket and the lifting equipment are essential to identify and address any maintenance or safety concern. Training, it is another important factor. Operator responsible for lifting and lowering personal baskets should receive comprehensive training and certification to ensure the safe operation. Worker in the basket should also be familiar with safety procedures. Communication. Effective communication between operator of the lifting equipment and worker in the basket is crucial for safe operation. Hand signal, two-way radio or the other communication method may be used. Emergency procedure. Procedure for handling emergencies such as equipment malfunctions or worker injuries should be established and communicated to all personnel involved in the operations. Maintenance and documentation. Regular maintenance of the equipment and documentation of maintenance and inspection are critical to ensure equipment's continue safe operation. Using personal carrying basket can be a safe and efficient way to access elevated work area when all necessary precautions are taken. However, prioritizing safety, adhering to regulations and providing proper training are essential to safeguard the well-being of workers using these equipments. Now, we discuss common type of material handling equipment in constructions. Material handling equipments are used in movement of bulk packaged and individual products within the limit of space of bucket. Material handling equipments used for following purpose: to increase efficiency of material flow, second to reduce material handling cost, to reduce facility utilization, to improve safety and working condition, and to facilitate construction process, and last to increase productivity. All material handling equipments are classified in three main types. First, conveyors. A conveyor system is a common piece of mechanical handling equipment that moves material from one location to another in fixed path. Conveyors are especially useful in application involving the transportation of heavy or bulky material. Conveyor system allow quick and efficient transportation for a wide variety of materials, which make them very popular in the material handling and packaging industries. Advantage of using conveyor system are as follows. It permits high capacity for moving large number of items. Conveyors, its speeds is adjustable. Handling combined with other activities such as processing and inspection is possible. They are versatile and can be on floor or overhead. Temporary storage of loads workstation is possible, particularly overhead conveyors. Load transfer is automatic and does not require the assistance of many operators. Straight line pass and SLs are not required. Utilizing of the cube is feasible through the use of overhead conveyors. Crane and hoist. Crane and hoist is a lower or derrick that is equipped with cable and pulley that are used to lift and lower materials. They are commonly used in the construction industries. Crane for construction are normally temporary structure either fixed to the ground or mounted on a custom built vehicle or ship. They can either be controlled from an operator in a cab that travels along with the crane by a push button pendant control station or a radio type controls. Advantages: lifting as well as transferring of material is possible. Interference with the work on the floor is minimized. Valuable floor space is saved for truck rather than being utilized for installation of handling equipments. Such equipment is capable of handling heavy loads. Such equipment can be used for loading and unloading of materials. The different types of crane used in constructions are crawler crane. The crawler crane moves on trucks, which is also called crawlers. Their main advantage is that it can move mostly on any surface of the earth. It can even move on soft soil due to its crawler, as it transfers its load to a great area. That is why it can be used at unprepared site without worrying about anything, and it is very heavy and move on truck. Hence, mobility is not easy and take more time and will cost more money, but it can be moved by truck easily and without costing much money. Rough terrain crane. Rough terrain cranes are mounted on a 4 rubber tires. They are mostly used in off-road application. Outriggers are used for stabilizing the crane while working. They contains only one engine, which means that same engine is used for undercarriage and cranes. A normal vehicle mounted crane cannot be used in off-road construction. That is why rough terrain crane are used for construction on off-road. All terrain cranes. It is in those type of crane which can travel at the same speed on the public roads as well as on the off roads. They also consist of more tires than rough terrain cranes. The main difference between rough and all terrain cranes is that rough terrain cranes usually travels on off roads, not on public road, while the all terrain crane can be used in the both applications. Truck mounted cranes. It is in that types of crane which have one engine. It means that same engine is used for undercarriage and as well as for the crane. They are mounted on a rubber tire truck which provides great mobility. Outriggers are used to stabilize the truck by extending it horizontally or vertical. Its main advantage is that it can travel on highway itself, which makes it easy and less expensive. It does not need any other vehicle to transport it. They can be rotated up to 180 degree. Some of them rotates up to 360 degree, but these are more expensive. Trucks. Hand or power trucks move loads over varying path. Example of such trucks includes lift truck, fork truck, trailer trains and automated guided vehicles. The advantage of these are they are not required to follow a fixed path of movement and therefore can be used anywhere on the floor where space permits. They are capable of loading, unloading and lifting in addition to transferring materials. Because of their unrestricted mobility, which allows them to serve different areas, trucks can achieve high utilization. Important rules used for personal carrying equipment. When using personal carrying equipment such as man basket or suspended platform in construction or industrial settings, it is essential to follow a set of rules and safety guidelines to ensure the safety of worker and prevent accident. Here are some important rules for using personal carrying equipments. Compliance with regulations. Ensure that all operation involving personal carrying equipment comply with relevant local, national and industrial specific safety regulations and standards. Stay informed about any updates or changes in these regulations. Qualified operators. Only qualified and trained personnel should operate the lifting equipments and manage the personal carrying equipment. Operators should be certified to operate the specific equipment being used. Pre-use inspection. Conduct a thorough pre-use inspection of both personal carrying equipment and the lifting equipment, that is crane, forklift. Before each use, check for any sign of damage, wear or malfunction is very important for the safety of workers and operators. Load capacity. The load capacity is a very important factor for the safety of worker and safely completion of operation. Load capacity, operator should have knowledge of the rated load capacity of the personal carrying equipment, including the weight of worker, tools and material. Never exceed this capacity. Fall protection. Worker inside the personal carrying equipment must wear appropriate fall protection gear, including safety harness and lanyards. These should be securely attached to anchor point within the equipment in use. Guardrail and barrier. Ensure that the personal carrying equipment is equipped with sturdy guardrails and toe board to prevent workers from falling out or dropping tools or material from the height. Secure entry and exit is another important find for personal carrying equipment. Ensure that the entry gate or door of the personal carrying equipment is securely latched while the equipment is in use. Workers should not attempt to enter or exit while the equipment is in motion. Communication. Establish clear and effective communication between the operator of the lifting equipment and worker in the personal carrying equipment is very important for safely completion of job. Use hand signals, two-way radios or other reliable method to communicate instruction and warnings from ground to height. Another factor that we should keep in mind while using personal lifting equipment is weather condition. Be mindful of weather conditions, especially high winds, which can affect the stability and safety of personal carrying equipment. Operations should be postponed or suspended in adverse weather conditions. Emergency procedure. Develop and communicate clear emergency procedure, including a rescue plan in case of equipment malfunction, power failure or worker injury. All personnel involved should be familiar with these procedures. Maintain stability. Maintain the stability of the personal carrying equipment at all time. Avoid sudden movement, swing or jerk motion that can destabilize the equipment and worker using personal carrying bucket. So that maintain stability of personal carrying equipment is most important factor. Operator training. Operators should be trained not only in operating the lift equipment, but also in safely raising, lowering and maneuvering personal carrying equipment. These include proper load control, site assessment before starting work at height through personal carrying equipment. Conduct a site assessment before using personal carrying equipment to identify any hazard, overhead obstacle or other potential safety concern. Documentation. Maintain detailed records of equipment inspection, maintenance, training and incident reports. Proper documentation is essential for assuring the compliances and addressing any issues that may arise in future. Stop use of defects, and if any defects, damage or safety concern are identified during an inspection, immediately take the equipment out of service until necessary repair or replacement are made. By using these rules and safety guidelines, you can help ensure the safe and sufficient use of personal carrying equipment, reducing the risk of accident and injuries in construction and industrial environments. Risk assessment for personal carrying equipment in construction. Conducting a thorough risk assessment for carrying equipments in a construction is crucial to identify potential hazards, evaluate the associated hazards and implement measures to mitigate them. Below is a step by step guideline to conducting a risk assessment for carrying equipment in construction. First, identify the task and equipment. Clearly define the task or job that involves carrying equipment using personal basket or similar device. Identify the specific equipment being used such as crane, forklift or aerial lift, and the type of personal carrying equipment, that is man basket or suspended platforms. Assemble a multidisciplinary team. Involve a team of experts including construction workers, safety professionals, equipment constructions and supervisors to collaborate on the risk assessment. Identifying hazards. Conduct a comprehensive review of the work area and equipment to identify potential hazards. Consider the following: falling from height, overhead obstacles or structures, weather condition, for example high winds, rain, equipment malfunction or failure, communication challenges and inadequate training or operator errors. Assesses the risk. Evaluate the severity and likelihood of each identified hazards. Use a risk matrix or similar tool to assign the risk level to each hazard, considering factors like frequency, consequence and exposure. Prioritize risk. Prioritize the identify risk based on their severity and likelihood. Focus on the most critical risk that have the potential for serious harm and injury. Develop risk mitigation measures. Determine control measures to mitigate each identified risk. These measures should be designed to eliminate or reduce the risk to an acceptable limit. Example of risk mitigation measures may include implementing fall protection measures such as guardrail and personal fall arrest system, conducting regular equipment inspection and maintenance, establishing clear communication protocols between equipment operator and worker in the personal basket, providing proper training and certification for equipment operators and personnel in the basket. Implement control measures. Put the identified control measures into practice. Ensure that all workers are informed and about and trained in the use of these measures. Monitor and review. Continuously monitor the effectiveness of the control measures and assesses whether they are being followed correctly or not. Conduct regular review and inspection of the equipment, work practice and safety procedures. Document and communicate. Document the entire risk assessment process, including identified hazards, risk level, control measures and training records. Communicate the result and control measures to all relevant personnel and stakeholders. Review and update. Periodically review and update the risk assessment as work condition changes. Equipment is replaced or modified or new hazards are identified. Emergency response and rescue planning. Develop and communicate clear emergency response and rescue plans, ensuring that all workers know what to do in case of an emergency or accident. Training and supervision. Ensure that all personnel involved in carrying equipment are properly trained and supervised to follow the safety protocols. A well conducted risk assessment helps construction team to identify and mitigate potential hazards associated with carrying equipment, ultimately improving safety on the job site and reducing the risk of accident and injuries. Proper hazard identification and risk will help in recognizing and control hazards in workplace, create awareness among employees and use it as a training tool. Set a risk management standards based on acceptable safe practice and legal requirement. It helps to reduce incidents in the workplace. It also helps in save costs by being proactive instead of reactive. Effective management control will raise the standard of health and safety measures among the workers. Conclusions of this lecture: the selection of the appropriate type and size of construction equipment and its operation maintenance affects the required amount of time and effort, and thus the job site productivity is of a project. It is therefore important for site manager and construction planner to be familiar with the characteristics of the major type of equipment most commonly used in the construction. With this, we will end our today's lecture here. Thank you for your patience, and we will meet in next lecture. Thank you.